So, first of all, thanks everyone for making it here after 6 p.m. My name is Toby. I'm one of the founders of Contorion. At Contorion, we sell tools and other industrial supplies like screws, material handling, workshop equipment to basically craftsmen and manufacturing companies, small to medium size, up to roughly 250 employees. So actually, we believe we sell what makes men's heart beat higher. First of all, just to kind of give you a quick intro to the market is estimated to be around 130 billion euro in Europe. Some estimates say it's 110. Some estimates say it's 130. I don't think that the real point is the exact number. It's just it's a very large market that hasn't been captured online at all. And at the same time, what's nice for us is that it's a very fragmented market. So the biggest player you see here is Würth. They do 5 billion in Europe. They say of themselves that they have roughly 5% market share. They do 10 billion globally. And then you see that most of the other players have 1% market share or less. So it's super fragmented. When you see this picture, this is a very typical picture of one of our, this is not our customer, this is rather the shelf of our customer and a Würth sales representative filling up that shelf, and you quickly realize that there's something wrong if a guy in the suit does the logistics, because that's obviously kind of expensive. And that also gets us to kind of like the pain points in the market. But first, how does the market split up? About 40% of the market is between large wholesalers and blue chips. This is we mostly done via catalogs or also e-catalogs like e-procurement. That's why you see the book here as a kind of, which I already said, we're focusing on small to medium size. So this is not the part of the market that we focus on. We're rather focused on the bottom parts. 30% of the market, which is more than half of our relevant market, is actually owned by the direct sellers like Würth. Würth actually employs the biggest field sales force in the world. By doing that and by running the model that they run, they actually introduce a lot of pain points in the market. So number one, the price intransparency they need in order to afford that sales force. So the sales force actually takes up 30% of their P&L. They get to 55% gross margin, which is kind of high in our market, and they get there via intransparent pricing. So that means craftsmen have very high list prices that nobody ever pays, and every craftsman needs to negotiate with the respective sales representative their discount level. So customers know that they're overpaying, and that's the situation in the market, and also they get frequented quite often. The target frequency is once every 2 weeks by one of the direct sellers. And the other 25% of the market, so the other half of the market that we tackle, is actually covered by retail. This is not DIY, at least not in continental Europe. So we're in Germany and Austria right now, and DIY in our markets is very B2C focused, but those are rather smaller regional sellers that go from the size of a kind of 7-Eleven all the way up to the size of the DIY market. And they obviously, because they're also very regional, have limited selection, also limited purchasing power. And only 5% is online. So what have we done so far? Here you see our recent development. We're 2.5 years old. This quarter we're going to do about between 7.5 and 8 million in net revenue. We actually are working on not just increasing revenue, but also obviously our net basket. That happens over time because customers who come back have higher baskets than when they purchased for the first time, and it also comes via us onboarding more premium brands that have actually higher price points. The second big pillar we're working on is obviously getting the marketing costs down. So we acquire our customers, although they're B2B, we acquire them online, pretty much online only. Here you see basically this is net marketing costs divided by net revenue. Yeah, we're working very hard to actually get marketing costs down in order to at some point get to profitability. And here a couple of facts on Contorion. We have about 200,000 customers. We have a 3% return rate, so that means our customers know what they're buying and they usually don't send it back to us. We've built over 100 direct relationships with premium manufacturers, so that also means because brands in our market are very traditional. We are now like in the marketplace slot, but we are actually taking inventory on a certain share of our revenue because our manufacturers are not yet there to deliver to end customers directly. So we need to take some of that inventory to get access to the premium brands. Our average customer is, although we only started 2.5 years ago, is 48 years old, and our share of mobile traffic is 30%. We actually think it's high. You just saw the previous company presenting with 65%. If you take into account that there's quite a lot of traffic on our site coming from buyers in industrial companies who obviously use their desktop device at work, they don't use mobile. We actually think it's already quite a high mobile share. But Marco's topic was actually where we'll be in 5 years. I need to speed up a little bit, and these are some cryptic icons that I will explain. So first of all, the first steps are about laying the foundation of where we want to be in the very long run. And number one is actually the aim that in 5 years, European craftsmen and manufacturing companies check Contorion first when ordering their MRO supplies, so when ordering industrial products. The second step, and obviously we're working very hard right now on the first step, and that's a lot about onboarding new brands, getting the commerce experience and the transactional experience on the site right. The second step is to establish Stier, our private label brand, as a brand with an A brand perception. It's very common for the players in our market to have own brands, but they are usually not really distinguishable from each other. They don't get any kind of investment in brand building, so they're very replaceable. And we think there's a real edge or the real niche for us to enter with Stier. The third part, very important, especially also for the next two parts, is actually to build deep relationships with our customers. So in 5 years, we want to hold relationships with our customers because they're B2B customers. We believe there's much further we can go than with a B2C customer to actually build the foundation to go beyond just online commerce. And what that means is one project, for example, that we're working on right now is to actually get more deeply integrated into the purchasing process of our customers. So right now what we're building with a hardware company in Taiwan is actually like an Amazon Dash, similar to Amazon Dash, but a little bit more flexible, a button that we can basically assign to any SKU, or the customer can also assign it to any SKU on our site. He can stick it to the shelf in his warehouse and then, or in his workshop, and then just go press the button and we ship the goods to the customer. This is one way of integrating it. When we're talking about this works for craftsmen and for kind of smaller manufacturing companies. We're talking about bigger manufacturing companies. It's going to be more about stuff like vending machines and stuff like that, where they can control actually who's taking it. But in order to sell these kind of products to our customers and get more deeply integrated, we obviously need the steps before, which is strong relationships with our customer, and that's what our I actually forgot to mention what our sales team that we've built, an in-house sales team that talks to the customer after he's acquired online, is actually working on building those relationships. And then the last step, obviously a lot needs to go right for us to get to nail the first steps. But the last step is actually then once we live in a world where our customers buy everything that they need from us, we know their material costs that actually go into any kind of building process, and we can build modules where they can analyze their costs, and then we want to layer on top basically the operating system for the craftsmen. So basically craftsmen right now work a lot on pen and paper. There's not really any great software out there for them, and they're also not really very good at using pen and paper or even Excel. So we think there's a lot we can do in providing that for them. Then once we know those costs, it's easy to kind of like say, hey, you add, for example, your personal costs, you do your payroll from our system, and then once you have these two costs, you can easily generate offers for your customers. So it's not the thumb kind of calculation that they do nowadays, but it's actually based on data. So yeah, this is it. I'm out of time. Thanks a lot for listening at this hour, and if you have any questions, I will be around tomorrow. Thanks.